Welcome to my next Stranger Things Season 2 episode review video. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am in rewatching or watching Stranger Things, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you find that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, thus far I have watched every single episode of Stranger Things that's aired. Looking forward to the fifth and final season of Stranger Things, which I'm hearing we're going to get in November. And I'm guessing at some point during that fifth and final season, they'll take a break to go into 2026 and make everybody resubscribe to Netflix. It's the smart business thing to do. But I wanted to rewatch the show and let things resonate on this show because it is one of my favorite shows of all time. I'm not exactly sure where it lands though. It could be it's definitely in the top 20, but it isn't. Is it in my top 10? I'm not exactly sure yet. It could be as high as like 7th or 8th, or it could be as low as like 17th, 16th. This rewatch of the show, at least till the first 3 seasons, will help me determine that. I remember season 4 pretty well, but the other seasons, some of the moments are not as prevalent in my head. But with all that said, this will be Stranger Things Season 2, Episode 7. The title of this episode is called The Lost Sister, and this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching this episode, which I wasn't looking forward to watching, and you all know why. So we start off, Eleven explains to Becky what she saw in her mother's visions, specifically the dark-skinned girl that she was shown repeatedly flipping through files on other experimental children. Eleven identifies the girl through a photograph as Kali, a young girl abducted from England. However, she is unable to find her when she tries looking for her in the void. Becky shows Eleven the room that tells Eleven that she has a home now and will stay with them. Eleven agrees that it is her home. Eleven sees a vision of an older Kali standing over a fire in the void and finds Becky trying to get in touch with Hopper and Joyce over the phone when she goes to tell her. Eleven takes some money from Becky's wallet and leaves, now knowing Kali's location. And then she, after Eleven leaves, sits in front of the TV, and the channel changes to Action News 8. On the bus, Eleven has more intense visions of where Kali is hiding. She arrives in Chicago and finds the place that she saw in her visions, an abandoned warehouse. She finds 4 people sitting around the same fire from her vision, Kali not being one of them. A suspicious man confronts her and threatens her with a knife until he sees spiders crawling on his hand and drops it in panic. Kali appears and Eleven gives her the picture from the newspaper, as well as demonstrates her powers by taking the man's knife with her mind. Eleven introduces herself as Jane, and Kali takes their wrists to show their numbers tattooed there. They recognize each other as sisters and embrace. Eleven explains her situation to Kali, who says that Hopper is being naive if he thinks he can bargain with the men from Hawking's laboratory, as Eleven will always be a monster to them. She refers to their powers as gifts and explains that hers is the ability to manipulate minds and make them see illusions of her choice. Kali confesses that she feels more complete with Eleven there, and that her new home could be with her, which Eleven seems open to. Kali explains to her group that Eleven was able to find her with just a picture, which will be able to help them in their endeavors that seem to involve murder. Eleven has a vision of Hopper apologizing to her through the radio, and then Kali wakes her up before she can react. She introduces Eleven to her group. The man who threatened her was Axel, as well as the young Dottie, the defensive strategist Mick, and the sensitive fighter Funshine. I like Funshine. Kali shows her their collection of identities, all the people who worked at the lab, who they hunt down and kill in retribution. She explains that 11 needs to confront the pain instilled on her by the lab so she can heal from it and become stronger. She has 11 pull a train car to them with her powers, encourage her by telling her to think of things that anger her. She thinks of Max Mayfield interacting with Mike Hopper, claiming her mother is dead, and her fight with him and the various injustices done to her by the Hawkins lab. She manages to pull the train with intense effort. 11 identifies Ray Carroll, one of the men who put her mother in the catatonic state. She locates him and the group gears up, as well as giving 11 a more punk look that Dottie refers to as bitchin', a phrase 11 adopts. A police officer stares at their van as it drives by. 11 uses her powers to help them rob a convenience store. As they drive to Carol, they break into Carol's apartment wearing masks and restrain him. Kali and 11 take their masks off, and Carol recognizes them when Kali makes him see them as children. Carol begs for his life and claims that Brenner is still alive and that he can take them to him. Knowing that 11 can find him anyway, now they know he is alive. Callie tells 11 to kill him. She starts to strangle him just as Axel and Dottie find their daughters in their room on the phone with the police, unable to kill him, knowing he has children and that they're there. 11 lets Carol live and stops Callie from shooting him. They drive off, but Callie warns 11 to never take away her revenge. Back at the warehouse, Callie tells a troubled 11 that she was once opposed to killing as well and had a family like her and Hopper, but they were unable to help Callie, so she left. She insists that 11 needs to face Brenner, and when 11 firmly states that he is dead, she makes Brenner appear to her. He tells her that she has a wound born from her pain that will eventually kill her if it does not she does not confront it. She leaves 11 with the choice to return to her friends or stay with her and avenge her mother. She remembers Mike nicknaming her, defending him and Dustin from bullies, and helping Hopper set up the cabin. She enters the void and sees Hopper nervously watching the lab's control panel, as well as Mike trying to get into the control room to warn them of the trap. Realizing that they are in danger, 11 decides to go back just as the police raid the warehouse. As Kali's group gets in a shootout with the police, and Kali stalls them by using her powers and showing them a metal wall that grows high into the sky. 11 says goodbye to her and flees as Kali calls after her. Kali's concentration wanes due to her distress, and a wall falls away, allowing the police to see them and begin firing on them again. She wipes away a tear as they drive away. On the bus, going back to Hawkins, an old woman notices 11's distress and sits with her, asking where she is headed. As the bus enters Indiana, 11 tells the woman she is going to her friends. Then 11 clarifies by stating she's going home. And that's what ends this episode of Stranger Things. So, not a fan of this episode. It gives 11 a journey that we didn't need to see. If you like this episode, all power to you. I'm just not a fan of it. So I'm going to give the episode a 5.0 out of 10. And my character of the episode is going to be 11. All the other people, including her sister, are unlikable and annoying. Other than I did like Funshine, but he wasn't utilized enough. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Sorry about the low score for this episode. But now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Stranger Things and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Stranger Things. What do you think? What would you score the episode, and who would you choose as the character of the episode? And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team. I know you're watching the video anyway. Help me get over 100,000 subscribers. And then you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.